The metaverse is a $1 trillion revenue opportunity, but who is actually pocketing that revenue, and will it be humanity's downfall? And then most importantly, is there anything we can do about it? Let's find out. Hi, it's Lorelei. Happy New Year. Excited to be kicking off 2022 with more metaverse goodness. First, what is the metaverse? The metaverse is the next iteration of the internet. You may have heard it called Web 3.0, and it leverages technologies like augmented and virtual reality, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and the Internet of Things. Proponents of the metaverse promise that it will change how we live, socialize, work, play, and learn. It is an all-encompassing digital ecosystem that touches everything from attending a virtual conference at a virtual hotel to shopping for a new Gucci handbag for your avatar or climbing Mount Everest with Batman. If you'd like a more in-depth overview of the metaverse, check out this video right here. Now, I'm a futurist. I'm excited about technology and the future, or at least I'm not scared or worried about it. And the way I see things, the metaverse just makes so many things more accessible, and it brings new opportunities for creatives and business owners, and it can be just exciting and awe-inspiring. And this is all kind of balanced cosmically against the corporate need to make money and expand. So if the metaverse is so great, why are people worried about it? So Web 3.0 is the future, but we are currently in Web 2.0. And Web 2.0 is controlled by a disproportionately small number of companies, including Facebook, which is now Meta, Google, which also owns YouTube, Amazon, which owns AWS, and Apple. The internet of today is actually highly centralized, despite each of us as individual users actively participating in Web 2 products. And these companies are able to secure so much control because they have found ways to monetize user data. And if these companies become the controlling entities behind the metaverse, they will have access to unbelievable amounts of our personal data. And as we've seen in the last few years, at-scale personal data, when used incorrectly, is disastrous. Tech companies use personal data for legitimate reasons, like to improve their products and services, and as a way to figure out how to keep people who are more likely to click on an ad on a platform longer. These practices have had some negative consequences, including data breaches, spreading of false information, polarizing nations, and mental health problems in users, just to name a few. These consequences could be 1,000 times worse in the metaverse because companies will have the ability to impact and potentially manipulate our choices like never before. And I actually watched a video the other day where a YouTuber asked, are these corporations just going to get us addicted to the metaverse? And my answer is, of course they are. The goal of every company selling every product ever wants you to become dependent and addicted to their products or services because that ensures that they will continue to make money. It is the name of the game. It is so ingrained and just so much a part of tech startup culture that when tech startups go through accelerator programs like Y Combinator or Techstars, one of your mandates is to show investors how your ideal customer will become addicted or dependent on your software. And it might sound manipulative, but it isn't meant to be a negative thing per se. For example, I think it would be fair to say that most businesses around the world are pretty dependent on email as a product today. If your email server goes down, whether that's Outlook, G Suite, or whatever you use, business stops for the day. In my old 9 to 5, if email went down, like we went home, like that was it, we were done. We didn't break out fax machines and start sending faxes to one another. But at the same time, no one is out there saying we need to abolish email because we are all dependent on it. People do get like addicted to their email where they can't stay out of their inbox, but you know, as a business product, we're gonna keep it around because it provides value, and it just provides so much value when used responsibly. The same can be said for basically every software or solution that provides value. It makes our lives better, so that's why we want to keep it around. I think a really good example of this is the future of gaming in the metaverse, and it has so much possibility, but at the same time, not all games are created equal. For example, in the new world of immersive gaming, I think game developers will need to be mindful about how violence is depicted, because in an immersive world, it can seem very real. And while the logical frontal lobe part of your brain might know it's not real, the lizard brain, or the parts that regulate, emotion, stress, fight or flight, that part of your brain won't know that it's not real. And the neuroscience behind that is actually fascinating. If you'd like me to talk about that in another video, please let me know in the comments. But like I said, this isn't new. Corporations have figured out how to manipulate our lizard brain, and we're already glued to our cell phones and social media. And the companies behind these technologies are well aware of the power they hold to change the behavior of millions, maybe billions of people for better or for worse. So I keep mentioning these companies, but who are they? Who are the companies that will control, benefit, and profit from the metaverse? So we have traditional tech companies like Nvidia, Intel, Cisco, Amazon, which owns AWS, Microsoft, and Apple, which are all well positioned to pocket some of that $1 trillion as demand for semiconductor chips, processors, and cloud services increase with the proliferation of the metaverse. Hardware providers, specifically of AR and VR headsets, are also in the mix. These companies are, Facebook/Meta, which owns the Oculus headsets, Microsoft, which makes the HoloLens, and Magic Leap, which makes the lightware devices. And then there's the game engines like Unity 3D and Unreal. As I said earlier, I'm a futurist and not a doomsdayer, and part of that is because I think blockchain, which is another component of Web3, has the potential to disrupt the power dynamic that these big tech companies have kind of enjoyed in Web 2.0. Blockchain-enabled products are by definition decentralized, which means no one single entity controls all the information and data, and the blockchain also enables users to own their data, whether that is a username, a piece of digital art, digital currency, or just your personal biometrics. And I'm not the only one who thinks this. Analysts at Goldman Sachs, of all entities, also think that the metaverse must run on blockchain to be the tech revolution that we hope it can be. And I think this is really interesting because Meta/Facebook, which is making the biggest play right now to control the metaverse, does not seem to have any plans for blockchain. According to the New York Times, Meta/Facebook's chief technology officer, Andrew Bosworth, wants to focus on blockchain and cryptocurrency tech, but doesn't want any part of the company to be exclusively dependent on blockchain. So that's really interesting, and I think reveals a little bit of Facebook/Meta's strategy going in here. So if you want the best of both worlds, you want to participate in the metaverse and Web3, but you don't want to be manipulated or controlled by corporations that maybe don't have your best interest in mind, there are a few things you can do. Number one is prioritize using Web3 products that are decentralized and allow users to own their data and assets. Two, be mindful and critical of what experiences you engage with. If a particular game, platform, or product makes you feel pressured to buy an NFT, or maybe it uses realistic graphic violence, ask yourself if that's really something you want to engage with. This kind of mindfulness, which might seem kind of fluffy, is actually like a pretty decent life skill. I think it's something that 5-year-olds should be taught. It's never too early or too late to start practicing this skill. And as a child of the internet era, I understand that it's not as simple as just opting out of a platform. Entire generations socialize, interact, and have lives on these platforms, and even if you don't like parts of it, you might not want to leave. Which brings us to number 3, and that is to provide feedback to the developers. So you may have seen the option to do this before and don't expect immediate change or even a response. But if a developer gets enough feedback, all saying pretty much the same thing, they will acknowledge it within the organization. And if they genuinely care about their customers, they will change something. And if they don't, is that really an organization that you want to support? Most developers will have an official portal for you to give feedback on their website. Others will require you to send an email. And then there's always the good old Twitter as a standby. And feedback does not have to be brutal. You can send constructive feedback, and in my experience, it's actually those messages that are more likely to get a response. And as the owner of a software development company, we take all of our feedback positive, negative, critical. We look at all of it. So don't underestimate the value of actually sending that message, because sometimes it just takes one more email for it to hit critical mass, and then you can get someone huge like Facebook to actually change something. Okay, so this was a little bit of a rambly, like sit down, chit chat, kickoff to 2022. But to kind of sum it up, do companies want us addicted to the metaverse that they control? Hell yeah, they do. Does that mean we are doomed to a dystopian future? No. It's really gonna be what we make of it, and I just wanna do my best to provide as much information as possible to you guys because you're awesome. And I love sitting down and having these chats every week. That is all for this week's video. With that, I hope that this has helped you understand the metaverse that 1% more. Keep living your legacy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.